Okay, so I'm going to change strings on Lee Bonaker's soprano nickel harpa. One of the first things I will typically do is back off the cello fine tuners, because when we put new strings on, we want those completely backed off. The reason I, as somebody who builds nickel harpas, I'm forever working with the nickel harpa body from this side with the keys facing me, so that's kind of the natural thing for me. So I'm going to start with the E string, which is the lowest, and I just take that off and get it off the peg, and then make sure that this is snugged up here. I have a new string here, which is kind of coiled up in on itself like strings tend to be, so I need to get that apart. And no, they don't act polite for me either. So the first thing I do is I on this end, I put the ball end in the cello fine tuner, and then I take one of these little binder clips and I just hold that there, so that way the ball end stays in place. Now let's come down to this end. Up by the main peg, you really only need maybe about 5 inches of string up here. So I've got a wire cutter there. I just cut it. And then up near the end here, about a 1/2 inch from the end, I take a pair of pliers and I bend about a right angle in there. And then I can come into here and I find the hole in the peg, keeping track of which direction it needs to wind. And I will just wind up the string on the peg, and if you're a little careful, you can get all of these wires nicely on top of themselves. And then I need to, okay, so where did my string end up? Ended up in my first sympathetic string slot, so I just slid it over. I have this handy dandy tool. This is a Mechanics dental pick. They sell these in a set of 3 with 3 different shapes. This one shape has got this funny little hook on it, which works great with strings. So I just changed the E string. So let's move on to the next string. So I back that off that end. I'm going to come up here, loosen it up, take it off. That's the A. And she likes a prim A medium wound. So I come up here, hook the ball, come down here. There's a little bit more wire up here than we need, so I'm going to clip it again. And I'm going to bend it again, and again, I don't know if you can see that bend on there. There's the bend on the wire. And you kind of want to keep track of which direction the string is wound on the post before you take the old string off. And then I just I'm feeding the string onto the post as I'm tightening things up. Oh. And down here, the A string decided it wanted to join the sympathetic string, so I'm just going to put it back in place. Okay, that's the A string. So we need the C2, which I believe Lee tunes in fifths, so this is her D string. But it's the C2 prim, also medium on this instrument. And you can tell if prims are medium or hard. If they're green, they're medium. If they're blue, they're soft. If they're brown, they're orchestra. That one's off. Come up here, get the ball end in. Put the binder clip on. And then up here we've got quite a bit of extra string, so I'm gonna leave some of this winding up on here, but cut most of it off. put that bend on there on the end of the string, and I come down here and oops, I've got tangents on the wrong side of the string. Okay, fix that. That string in the right spot. Okay, that string's done. Let's take the third string off. And this is the G string. And Lee does not need new sympathetic strings today, so I'm not going to show people how to do sympathetic strings today. This is just the 4 main strings. And again, I'm gonna go about 5 inches up from there, from the post, put a bend in it. And voila, I've just changed the main strings.